So, ladies and gentlemen, I know that the whole pandemic thing, I was trying to find my way to phrase that, everything that's going on in the world, kind of when end of February, early March, it all kind of started ensuing. And kind of like by mid-March, people felt the effects for local businesses. Everyone was asking me, man, what do I do with my SMA? And I told people, I was like, look, if you are already somewhat well seated and well developed in a niche, just keep reaching out, because what will happen is you will be building up all these relationships, and when the time comes that businesses reopen, the floodgates will just open. One of my favorite terms is when it rains it pours. And Emmanuel is a perfect example of that, because his agency was doing around 5K a month. He was about to sign on a couple clients, and then unfortunately they're like, with everything that's going on in the world, we can't sign on right now. He kept those relationships, he kept doing outreach, and now he's at a point where June, I am adamant that he's gonna 4 to 5x his agency, and that's not like some rah-rah thing. It's like January, he's got 7 to 8 clients who are a green light, they're a go, and you're gonna find out a little bit about his pricing structure very shortly. But incredible conversation, everything from building an agency, helping dental clients, to philanthropy, charity. So with no further ado, I'll let it roll. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another student interview. We are joined here today with a gentleman who is crazy enough to wake up at 3 a.m. in the morning. Yeah, brother, I appreciate you waking up that early to jump on the student interview, share your wisdom. I don't think we've had anyone on the student interviews who's serviced the dental niche.
I think probably, what's his name? What's from Australia?
Robin Hunnicky?
No. He was the one who had to go over like his accent and dude, what is this dude's name?
Oh yeah. No. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right. He serves the dental niche. Yeah. Okay. So
I guess it's your first Kenyan. There you go.
Yeah, there we go. That's a title you can take. So you just want to tell them a little bit about yourself, how you got into agency world, how you got to where you are now.
Yeah. First of all, yeah, it's crazy. So I guess like the short story kind of bringing it short is born and raised in Kenya, Africa. And for the people who kind of think we walk around in like underwear, like huts, like it's not, it's my family I'm the youngest out of 4. So I have a brother, then me, mom and dad. So my mom had a boutique store, which you go to different countries, Thailand, Dubai, etc., to get clothes and bring it back. She also had an electronic store. And then my dad was in charge of exports and imports for the entire country. And so they owned like different things, like they owned an apartment building, or not like the entire, not a complex, but just one of the buildings. But rent was like 90% off. So if it's like $1,000, you can imagine how like cheap that is. So I learned we lived in a regular life, regular anything. It's because they gave away 90% of their money just because they didn't have it. So when I was younger, my mom told me, Iman, you don't deserve anything in this world. And I was like, oh, I was like, okay. She's like, you have to work for it. And so that was like drilled in the head when I was younger. So kind of like fast forwarding, coming to America, etc. I'm in Raleigh, North Carolina, East Coast. Have all my brothers, or everyone in my family has their own entrepreneurship. My brother closest to me, he had a transport business that went from like college kids throwing up to him carrying ESPN executives, C-suites, to where in a weekend he would clear, I mean, you're talking like 50, 80K. And he has like a folder of stripes. Like he calls it, you can't tell me shit folder, where he'll show me the progression of like $3 to 3 days clearing 80K, carrying the entire Duke Health organization. It's like, and all of it was profit. And the funny thing was, he only had one car. So people would be like, hey, I'm Iman's assistant. We're bringing 40, 50 people. Can you carry them? Yeah, for sure. Hey, John, there's 50 people who are going to come. Can you take them? So agency world, I started my first business after high school, which was a streetwear business, which the first 30 shirts I ordered sold out in one day. That was crazy because people would buy the shirts and I'm like, are you sure? Like, do you want to buy this? And they would even come to me. So it was called Killer Clothing. And the whole thing was just like, the mentality, killing it. And that was 2014, and I think we'll talk about it, but it reminds me of everything that's happening right now. Because after high school, I was friends with everyone, the jocks, the nerds that played Yu-Gi-Oh, whatever. but I didn't know anything that I wanted to do. All I did was just play COD. And like, I just hung out with friends who at the time weren't really helping. But after high school, I really found it's like you have to be by yourself to find yourself. So that's when I just started reading books, and like I would go, like I systemized my work. At the time I was taking online classes at community college, which I dropped out of, but I would wake up in the morning, like I knew exactly what time classes would reset. Then I'd go to work, go work out, go to work, come home, stay up from like 3 to 1 in the morning. So the business started working. I saw VSL from Sam Lovins Consulting, 2016, 2015. A month later, I met a local mentor who's like 25 years older than me, who's still a big father figure, brother to me. And that's kind of how I got into the agency world. And, you know, I guess we'll dive deep more into it, but it wasn't an easy journey, especially being in the South, of course, as an African-American or African.
So you kind of been familiar with the internet marketing agency, online entrepreneurship space since like 2016, 2017.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's crazy because I would see it, but like, you know, when you see an ad before you get into the matrix, like you have no idea what it is. But like my brothers, they used to sell iPhones when they first came out, like when they were like 2-3 grand. So like they used to do 6 figures a month, but I had no idea what they were doing. And they would use Google ads. They would use all this like at the time, but I was not exposed to it. But once I really got into the streetwear industry, I, you know, Skillshare.com.
Yeah.
They had it was 2015 or 2016. They had a thing where if you wrote about why, they were giving away a scholarship for free. If you wrote about why you'd want it, they'd give it to you. Dude, it was like a 2-page thing that I wrote. A week later, the number 2 of the company emails me, and they're like, we've passed this around the entire company. I got a whole year scholarship for free. So I took Jeff Staple from Staple Designs and his course, which, I mean, that's crazy because to think like that was the very first course that I ever took, which kind of like sparked everything.
That's awesome. Yeah. So that's I mean, I'm just trying to fill in the blanks here. So 2014, you launched your clothing company. You get your first taste of entrepreneurship. 2016, 2017, you get your first touch points with online marketing. From 2016 to 2017, you know, fast forward to 2020, what happened in that time in between?
So the reason I stopped it is because I understood the business side, but I didn't understand marketing, even though I was doing it. So one of my really good friends at the time was a cheerleader, and he was like cheerleading is a sport outside of school for me, and because like the amount of travel and everything that's included. So like I knew the top cheerleaders just because like we would hang out, and like now they have millions of followers. They all live in Cali. So like I'd be like, hey, Iman, you want a shirt? Yeah, why not? And like I would get sales like the next day like that. I just didn't know what I was doing. So I dropped it, went into marketing. I was still working. The YMCA is a very close thing to me, Young Men's Christian Association. So I was working part-time at the time, and then I ended up getting full-time, which was beyond quite crazy. So I would my schedule where I would wake up in the morning, go work out. I'd close every day because that would mean more money for me. So, and it didn't really matter at the end of the day. I wasn't hanging out with people. Come home, and I'd probably come home like 5, 6, but at the time, since it's California, so I would contact people in California since they're three hours behind. And so and then I would call during the weekends. Like weekends is when I would schedule myself. So weekends I worked full time in my agency. So like I'd wake up at like 6, whatever, like I'd have my set day. But yeah, I mean, honestly, dude, like 2017, 2018, 2016, I mean, even a little bit not that much 2019, but like I was probably doing like 3,500 actions a month, like meeting people, driving to people, Skype meetings, closing them out of them, phone calls, DMs. God, if Loom existed back then, I probably would have been sending like 1,000 Looms a month. Yeah.
So one thing I really want to touch on with you is specifically the 2020 timeline, because like things were really looking up for you, and then COVID hit. And then that kind of put some things on pause. And then now, you know, going into June, you're about to quadruple your business. Because you were still doing outreach that entire time during COVID. And you didn't, because I know this is something that a lot of people, I literally gave that same advice. My advice was, if you have no clients, well, realistically, you're not going to sign any dental clients right now. So at least start reaching out to clients that you could potentially sign. If you already are making, you know, 3K, 5K, 10K, 15K, whatever, however much amount. If you already are established within one niche, keep reaching out to them, because you're going to get the green light eventually. And, when it rains, it pours. And I guess that's kind of exactly what's happened with you. So
yeah.
You could shed some light on that. That'd be awesome.
Before COVID was really, I fell into dentistry niche because of getting braces twice, having teeth taken out. And then my personal dentist is the wife. And then the husband is the consultant. Because I learned dentists, when they get out of school, there's a drop off. There's no marketing or business classes. So it's good and bad. It's good for people like us who can help, but it's bad because people get taken advantage of. So I would just talk to dentists. I'd be like, hey, I'm not charging you. This isn't marketing. I just want to learn about like who you are. And I just dove deep in December and really just didn't even reach out to people and just figured out the systems and the processes. So January, my dental client who I've been with for 4 or 5 years, he was like, dude, you do amazing work. Go ahead and charge yourself whatever you want to charge yourself. Because I had his card on file. Shouts to that. And so we went up, and I was doing March is when I had a client. Again, you have to keep talking to them. It took 5 months off a referral from him. So March, I was around 3,500 profit. And I had brought on a sales team via this thing called Overpass. I don't know if you've heard about it, but it's freelancing, specifically sales. Really good. And I found a sales team that lives here. The owner lives here in North Carolina. So if I was telling Iman, if this is the week where I got the sales team, I had like 7 to 8 calls with the office managers, because it's extremely hard for you to get to the dentist, especially before everything. But I had the sales calls with them. This is even before now what I have now. They were all ready. They were like, this is amazing. We're going to the dentist next week. He loves it, and we can go ahead and start. Then it's like, COVID's like, yeah, about that. Let me. So I remember, like, because March to April, I was probably going to do like 10, 15K, honestly, because I know my industry, like dentists, I'm not going to give them the new patient specials are good, but they're very low ticket. So I focus on high ticket. Dental implants start at $3,000. Invisalign starts at $6,000. And if you get all on 4, that's $15,000 per jaw. So like, I know my base prices that I can go. So basically the highest I can go to is 15K if I really wanted to. But but during that time, I'm actually glad it happened, because looking at my systems, there was like, I probably would have got, what do you call it? The golden handcuffs? Is that what we usually call it?
Yeah, golden clients.
Yeah. I easily that would have happened to me. But at that time, I was watching Iman's course. So I've told this in the group. I've actually taken 6-figure SMA in another course, completely bootlegged. And what got me was like, I remember taking it, and I remember I've watched you since like 2015, 2016, which is crazy. But I remember when I was taking this course, and once you started talking about what you're doing with the kids in Nepal, that's kind of when I had to draw. And even before that, I drew the line, because I worked at the YMCA working with kids, to where you have kids who go through things that no person should ever go through, who come from horrible houses, kids who they enjoy being with you more than being at home, so they cry when they have to go to the car. And then like, I've also been a product of like the why and like what they've given back to me. So like, when I realized like, dude, you're taking from someone who's giving away from the kids, like, to me ethically, that was just like, nah. So I had to delete everything. And I just told myself, whenever opportunity comes, I am buying whatever it is that he puts out without a question. And so in America, when they put out the stimulus, literally didn't even think about it. It was just like, but that getting into AI was like the, going into the doctor's office, and the doctor was just like, yeah, this is what's wrong. This is what's wrong. This is what's wrong. This is what's wrong. But I guess that's kind of it. That didn't go on a tangent.
No, that was awesome. It's funny you mentioned that. Like, I've had a lot of people, I mean, now in 2020, we brought on Nikolai, who is, there's a lot of people in the company who are very behind the scenes. No one knows him. Nikolai is, he's a funny character. In Russian, we have a term that's called krisha. It means like roof or ceiling. And anyone who's Russian knows that everyone in life needs a krisha. And he's a very scary dude. I'm scared of him. But anyways, the point is, Nikolai, we brought him on in 2020. He does the law, intellectual property protection, cybersecurity at the company. He's a very scary dude. I'm not scared of many people. I'm scared of him. So we've clamped down on that, but over, especially 2018, 2019, it's so funny. Like, I'd say mainly 2018, it was mainly with 6-figure SMA. Yeah, it's quite a bit harder, but it's funny. I've had a bunch of people be like, yeah, so I bootlegged 6-figure SMA, and then like I vowed to they're like, I bootlegged six-figure SMA, and then once I was making 10K a month from the course, which I got for free, I was like, I should probably pay this dude, like a little bit. So it's funny, now that obviously you're an agency incubator, and then very quickly after that, copy paste agency.
Yeah.
You're playing with the big dogs in there.
Yeah.
It's very, very, very entertaining to see. One thing that I wanted to touch on is from a service delivery aspect, you go far past doing a native lead gen ad on Facebook and just being like, all right, cool, my job's done. You look at all sides of the spectrum when it comes to service delivery. You look at how to actually get the leads, how to nurture the leads, how to present it to the client in the most refined form possible. So if you could touch on that a little, that'd be awesome.
So December, it's funny.
Sorry, I think you cut out for a sec. Wait, I think you cut out for a sec. Wait. I apologize for this, guys. Yeah, we're back.
Okay. Awesome. Sweet. Basically just saying for everyone who's watching this is take advantage of all the student interviews. Cause like, I don't get back to your question. What I would literally do when I was working before I got Brain FM, but I would just have all the student interviews like on cycle, like from John Danes, who we talk all the time on IG now and Facebook and etc. And to Josh, and like there's some like I swear I can even recite to you what they even say, but just the knowledge up there is just amazing. But service delivery, December, regarding like the contraction side of it, I really took contraction to really think about what I can offer and what I can do. So December is when I really thought about, okay, not just ads, right? Not just ads, like that's it. Like I've already given ads to people. I've generated 30 leads in a week and they didn't close any in like 2-3 weeks. And they're like, yeah, the leads are bad. And I'm like, what do you mean they're bad? And I was like, okay, how many times did you call them? Oh, they only called them once. Okay. Okay, that makes sense. And I get like what you just said, like you can either be like, oh dude, they suck, or you can like boss up and really take it to yourself. So January is when I implemented the new system, which was, Facebook to, Zapier to Google Sheets, Zapier to push notification and call and etc. Spent $250 for my dentist, brought $20,000 in patients, not leads, $20,000 in patients. That mind blows me. And of course I use that as a smooth case study, but that's when I was like, okay. And then after that, the referral who I got in March, we brought her on and I told her I'm going to break her system because she knew about marketing, but she was scared to like put herself out there. So in 2 weeks spent $350 and I brought her, I think it was $5K because of she didn't do dental implants, so she had to refer them. So funny enough, she also got a commission bump from the dentists. But she did some other crowns. But now the system, and I think we talked about with Go High Level, it was amazing finding that because I've had the system mapped out like on a mind map. Now it's working to where literally now I've brought on a gym who's like a local celebrity of mine, but I'm looking at it because of referrals that he's already given me. But the system implementing from literally we do 99.9% of the work to the leads, to nurturing the leads, to communicating with them, to their own custom CRM, to everything. And the value that I'm giving them is now also as well as getting them HIPAA compliant, which a lot of medical marketers do not talk about that. HIPAA compliancy is huge because if you're a doctor and the HIPAA, HIPAA organization comes after you and like tries because you're HIPAA compliant of your data, you could easily just sue me for a crap ton of money. So when working with us, that's another thing that I use is that we are HIPAA compliant, and a lot of them, that's like they just like tick and they're like, oh wow, that's amazing.
I mean, I've never heard of it. So
yeah, it's like I didn't know about it until I talked to my dentist. So like you talk about it when you get your clients to become to your friends. Like I really just asked them because you talk about HIPAA. I'm like, okay, what is this HIPAA thing? What are you talking about? So just learning that it's like the Thanos of the medical industry.
So one thing I love to pivot to next is I actually just want to get a little bit more into the weeds of what does that nurturing process look like? And maybe if you give an example of, if you have the same amount of spend before, if you were getting like, let's say 100 leads, whereas now you're getting maybe 30 leads, but they've been through that nurturing and refinement process. And yeah, basically just like what you actually do.
Right. So, okay. So when the lead goes through, when a client comes on board, onboarding, everything, majority of dentists have a crappy website, going to flat out say that. So we give them our own kind of website throughout there. It's pretty much like kind of like a funnel. And then the two funnels that we usually give them, if they're doing them, are dental implants and Invisalign. Client comes on the page, they fill out their, and I don't mind sharing this, they fill out their information, name, email, phone number.
And is this on ClickFunnels? Or?
No, this is all on Go High Level. So yeah, so they fill out their information, Facebook, like they have, what's my Facebook, name, email, etc., kind of like pretty much a funnel. And then the next, after they fill out their information, there's a nurturing process where they get a text, an email, a whisper call to where it would call you and say, hello, Iman Orthodontics, you have a new Invisalign lead. Press 1 to be patched through. It's called Corded and it's attached. They're also getting nurtured throughout like a 7 to 14 day process if they don't book. And at any time, if they do message, of course, the drip campaign is paused. After they fill out their information, they go on to, a lot of people just go straight to thank you. I do quizzes. So it's a 6-question quiz where they're basically getting the emotion. Kind of info products do it a lot, like, why do you want to get this course? So I ask, I think you have yours too. So I ask mine, how many teeth are you missing, right? So with dental implants, it starts at 3,000. So if the leads that I gave my client in January, I based them off one missing tooth, but he actually called me. He was like, hey, most of these people are missing 2 teeth. So each person is like 4 to 6K, but I was basing it off the really slow price. So, they get nurtured throughout there. And after they fill out the quiz, they can go ahead and book an appointment. And it's intuitive. So the office manager, practice coordinator can go in and actually book it. And then also with part of the automation, we have our own automation where we notify them that a new lead has come in. We're going to be nurturing them through the process. We give them what to do. I already have videos created of how to use the CRM. So I guess I don't know if that explained it a lot. So that's kind of like the nurturing process from the lead. And there's also different things like in the CRM, they can see how much we're spending on ads. They can see the attribution report. That's pretty much each lead value. So now like I'm just super excited because I did this without this complete system. Now that it's about to happen with this full system, like I think like honestly, I'm going to be probably giving like 80 to 90% close rates for my clients. Of course, as long I'm doing 99.9% of the work, they still have to do the actual operations and everything. So.
No, I wouldn't see why not. It's a very comprehensive system, which leads me to ask, how much are you going to be charging for this stuff?
So the first, I'm thinking like 5. I really want to do 20 clients this year. So I already have I have a VA who helps me as well as some outreachers, and I already have my media buyer ready. So the first five people, I want to charge them $3K, kind of bring them on a grandfathering price, get those testimonials, because I already have testimonials right now, but really get those newer ones. And then after that, from there, I'm probably not charging anything less than 6. And like a lot of people might be like, that's crazy. But if you really think about it, if I get you two patients, like there was a practice I spoke to last week who I got on the call with the lady, showed her everything, as well as showed her actual system. And she does Invisalign, and they're called starts. So a start is 6K. So I was like, yeah, this is half of a start. And I paused. Like she was like, how much does it cost? I was like, oh yeah, this is just half of a start. And like, that's where you got to know your niche. And she was like, oh, this is nothing. Like a start is only 6K. So unfortunately, we're pausing for them because dentists had just opened up. So of course they're starting to get the revenue. So I already told her, hey, I'm calling you next month. So she's like, okay, that's fine. Like the dentist already knows and everything. So that's kind of where I'm going to go to. And of course they charge ad spend is separate. So
yeah, of course. I love that you refer to it as half of a start rather than half of like half of the minimum potential sale of the product or service. Like just having that having that industry language is just so important. It just speaks volumes of how you carry yourself and that you are actually, because anyone can say they're an expert, but when you throw out a term like that so blasé, because there are, no matter what industry you go to, there are specific terms and there's specific language. And as I said, you know, I guess I just have a ringing in my ear, just how blasé you were about it. I love it.
Dude, honestly, sometimes I'll just look up like dental videos and just like really get into the minds of them, just because like, I mean, at the end of the day, like once you understand the people that you're working with, like you're not trying to, like a lot of people, like, and that's one thing I learned too. Like, I would always try to make them understand me, but then I was like, dude, it's not about me. Like, it's really, like, at the end of the day, it's really not. Like, it's about them. And I guess also that helped with working with little kids, because little kids, my mentor one day when he was like, think of everything that you're working with as little kids. You're able to make, which is true, like, and not egotistically, like I can have a kid come in and they absolutely hate the Y, and my nickname at the Y is Sushi. And I can have them come in and hate the Y, but at the end of the day, they will not want to leave. And I don't do that as like a personal egotistic point, but I do it as like, you know, when I came here, parents divorced and family kind of went different ways. So at the time, like I was just by myself. So like I also run one of the clubs there, which is a high school and middle school club that I went through. And I told them like, I'll do that for you forever. And so for me, I always tell them like, if you need someone to come in and just yell at and don't even say anything, like I'll be that like the person to hold it all. Because when I was their age, I didn't have anybody to really say it to. So it was just like personal with that. People were not personal. It was inside me.
So how do you see that relationship between philanthropy, charitable work, and business and entrepreneurship?
Man, I think it's important because like I know we talk about like once you come, like you're gonna have to, you know, become your new character, right? Like you're gonna have to leave the old character. But I feel like you can't forget where you've come from, because like I always say like we have the opportunity to give other people opportunities. So like you have the opportunity, like you don't have to be doing anything that you're doing right now. You can easily just chill out, close the laptop, stop uploading YouTube, stop doing Nepal, and like your mom's good, your family's good, and you can just do whatever you wanted to. But like you have the opportunity to give other people opportunities to where people are now doing 10 times like, you know what I mean? Like they're doing different things. So I went through the Y and really learned that's how I got in. I went to a summer camp and I didn't have enough money to go for the next 2 weeks because my mom lost her job, and they paid for the entire summer, which is like a 5K. That led to me getting into the club in high school. That led to me volunteering. That led to me working. That led to me, my last summer last year when I went full time, I ran the camp that I went to when I was younger. So like there's a lot of things that have gone there. So for me, I think it's important just because, I mean, at the end of the day, if you can help someone in a different there's people who want to be in a position you are. And just kind of like with what you're doing with school, like you might not be doing school, but there's other people, countries who like, that's the only thing. So for me, I think it's important. Like one of my goals this year is to do 10K, or give 10K to charity, especially to the Y. But my overall goal is going to be to 1 million. So I know that's going to happen, like for sure. But also like not just giving it, but just like being actually put it to use or do other stuff. Like I've never been to Disney World, but think about how cool it would be to pay for an entire family to go to Disney World, like first class flight, penthouse. I don't even know what it is, penthouse, whatever, money, and it's even better, but they have no idea who did it. So like that's just for me. I want to be able to do stuff like that.
To be honest, I love the energy you radiate and your living embodiment of it, because to be honest, I think there's a lot of entrepreneurs out there or business people out there who, you know, they do their 20K to Red Cross, all right, pat on the back, I'm a good person, you know, but it's good to see someone who you can tell, like, honestly, they live and breathe it. And also, you know, before, you know, you're very quickly coming up on a good amount of money. Before money, you gave your time, you know, any asset you had, you gave. And, you know, I think that speaks volumes about you. So, yeah.
And that's true. It's like, it's a lot of the clients that I've gotten, of course, there's some that's been out of state, different states. But majority of them, you know, I've gotten so many clients from the Y, like locker room talks or steam room talks. That's how I got the gym that I work with. We were in the gym, locker room. And then he was like, dude, I don't see you working at camp anymore. Like, you don't work? He's like, no, I went full time with my agency. He's like, agency? You mean like Billie Jean? And I'm like, Billie Jean? You know Billie Jean? He's like, yeah, I know Billie Jean. He's like, what do you do? He's like, I own a gym. I'm about to open. Like, I've done ads. Do you want to help me? I was like, yeah. We met next week. I was like, look, I'm not going to charge you because I want to understand your business better, but I want you to give me a video testimonial. He gave me a video testimonial, like a 2-minute video testimonial at 5:30. We did a 2-week trial for ClickFunnels. In 2 weeks, spent $250, made him $2,500. And he was like, I remember him texting me, and he was like, yo, keep pumping them out of those ads, because he was just getting strike notifications. And now his gym, he's a celebrity. Like, what his family's had to go through, his wife, his kids, and now like he has over 300 members, all paying $150, etc. And so now he was like, look, I reached out to him the same time that you and Robin had that interview. I've actually got 2 clients from that. I had a restaurant franchise who was a friend I just reached out to. Majority of what's going to happen is I'm taking over that entire franchise now. But the cool thing is I have a team member who can do that. And like that is already running, not on autopilot, but kind of. So in my head, I'm like, oh, this is how my dental agency is going to be. Not dental agency, but like, this is how the dentist side is going to be, because like, I understand the team member. He's the one who built the system. And I was like, he can do it. I was like, okay, I just need to right click, copy, and paste it. But yeah, I mean, don't burn bridges. I know that kind of went off. Don't burn bridges. Everybody at the Y, I just learned, treat everybody like they're $1 billion CEO, because at the end of the day, you never know who you're talking to. I've been on a trip holding a door for someone to go into a cookout, which is like our R5 guys. There was a woman with a baby. I was just holding the door for her as we were going for like one of the trips. We get to the trip, and I found out she's in charge of marketing at the YMCA. And she's like, yeah, you held the door for me. And I was like, oh, nice. So it's like, you really never just know who you're talking to.
I love it. Well, yeah. Dude, this has been extremely, extremely insightful. As I said, I appreciate you waking up so early and imparting all of that wisdom on us. I really appreciate it.
Appreciate that. Appreciate you for, it's crazy. Like, I know we're finishing. I wrote it down on my notebook. I have a notebook called Knowledge and Courses. It's only 2 courses in there, but it's crazy. So I get into Agency Incubator 2 days after my birthday, so April 15th. Go through that thing in a week. That was nice. I wrote down get into copy paste agency by June 1st. And I remember when I was writing it down, I'm like, bro, what are you talking about? So I wrote that down. And then a month later, just doing stuff, just kind of whatever. A month later, so I finished Agency Incubator, I think the 20th of April, because I dove deep into it. May 20th, I was actually supposed to get into copy paste agency the 19th, but there was a problem with my card. So I got into it the 20th of May. The 20th of May is when I finished Agency Incubator. So it's like the relation is just so crazy. But anyone watching this, like, dude, just buy the course. Like, I don't care what you have to do legally, not even legally, but it's of course, I think you should be charging like 15, 20K. Honestly, like this should be like a school, because like this knowledge that you get is nuts. The community that you get is nuts. One of my boys, Greg Pinto, he just got into AI because I tell him all about it. He knows who you are. He does dealerships and he's killing it for his client, his client is his employee. And it's just awesome. So he finally got in and he was like, dude, this group is just nuts. Like seeing people being able to do these things. And now that I'm in CPA, that's even more nuts because it's like sardine in the ocean. So yeah, just ready to play the big dogs. I'm ready.
Yes, sir. You're in the big leagues. You're in the big leagues. Awesome. Lots of love, dude. Appreciate you.
Yes, sir.